Celebrity Dirt My G's, how's it going? Just a super quick little video today on another bass. I've called it Sloany Bass because it's kind of like Tony's cousin, actually, Sloany, and he's even more slithery and just, you know, he's a slimy character. But basically, we're going to slow down the bass with the Sloany macro. And sounds like a fast food chain. Slowly macros. Anyway, Sloany macro. It's the only modulation in the patch. The rest of the sound comes straight from, well, the D tuning and all the effects and things, but there's not even any modulators. So just using the right sound sources and then the right amount combination of filtering and distortion, then we can create something that sounds like this.
The parables of Phase Plant.
Or if Sloany is involved, it sounds a bit more like, you know, he's sliding on a penguin through a cave, imagine. Anyway, it's quite simple bass, like I said, because there's not any modulation, so that's great. That saves me talking about that. So yeah, let's quickly run through it as quick as I can, and similar process to the last 900 phase plant video. No, the last 3 phase plant videos, which is that I've done something naughty. No, what I've done is I've used one spectral wavetable as the carrier, run it through 2 sine waves that are detuned, added in some white noise, and then processed it within phase plant. So simply, great way to do it. How I can start off with one sine wave, like you've got here at -24, okay, and just set the FM amount from the oscillator 1. So we're going to set the output here to the phase, turn that one up 21.9%, and here you can cycle through some wavetables until you find a nice. A good one that just kind of works well when it's FM'd into a sine wave. So the nylon guitar 1 sounds great. We got no modulation on the wave table here. We could do some of that. But yeah, that's at -12, and then the sine wave is at -24, okay? And then all I do next is add in another sine wave. So again, just analog sine wave, as you can see selected here. This time we set the output from the number 1 to the phase here, but whack it to the left, and it's at 23.9% negative. All right, and then rather than having this sine wave at -24 as well, I've gone for -22.8. So that distance between the pitches is creating the movement in the detuning. And this is where the Sloany macro is set to the semi-sense here. So just -1.34 means that we go up. And it's going to bring those 2 pitches a little bit closer together, so it will slow down the modulation. So that's the only real thing that's, you know, creating the movement here. There's, like I said, no LFOs or anything. So next up, I did want to get quite sort of stereoed and a little bit washed out with this sound, so it's a little bit more convoluted. So I used the global unison at ×4, and I blended that in about 24%, so quite a lot. And then we got some white noise as well. Just the volume is just at 7%, and it's just going to sit on top of everything. So we're just going to filter out the low end. Yeah, so pretty easy stuff there. And that one's going to get sent to lane 3, because again, we're going to do a bit of low pass filtering in lane 2. So once you've got all those set up, you're ready to progress. So we'll add in our lane 1, and like I said, I wanted to wash this one out quite a bit, so I've chorused it quite a lot, 25%. Then I've added a convolver, which is the Erie loading dock. It's kind of one of the only ones that really fit with this that didn't sort of destroy the low end, so it's quite a high-end convolution reverb overall. Blending that in at about 12%, which is quite a lot considering we're going to distort the hell out of it as well, so bear that in mind. The non-linear filter next to take out a little bit of... it's not that I want to take out the mid-range exactly, it's just that I want to colour the sound with the drive of the non-linear filter. So we're going to do it on the cutoff around 370 here. You know, so we are taking out some of the mid-range, but that's me just finding the best spot where I don't feel like we're getting the best end result from the sound in terms of like not ruining the kind of fundamental dynamics of the sound. Not even so much the dynamics, but like the actual power of the sound. If I was to go too low, it's kind of like in that 200 to 300 hertz mid-range, low mid-range area where the main like kind of power of the bass is. So I don't want to go too low. And if I go too high, the tone just changes quite a lot. So it's a little bit more kind of balanced around there, 370. So that's me making the best of a bad situation, really, because I don't want to take out mid-range. But if I'm going to, it's going to be in the exact spot, which I can't get back to. 369. Damn, she fine. Give it to me, suck it to me. One more. Yeah. So next up, a bit of distortion, the fold back mode. So that really, really slams it up. And here I tried the spread. Like, does sound nasty, but completely changes the sound. It's almost like the low end gets distorted in such a different way when the spread is turned up. So I decided to leave that off and just drive it up 6 dB, kind of left it how it is there. But yeah, it gets very, very saturated and loud there. Next up then a little non-linear filter on lane 2. And this is going to do just one thing only, is to take out some of the high end with a little bit of colouring. So it's doing two things, I lied. Yeah, so it's about 3,000 hertz, well, 3,333.3393. And it's a soft Q, so you have still got a bit of that high end in, and we're going to exaggerate it and bring it back out again now, and it's going to be more natural with the hard clip. Yeah, so we managed to take off a bit of the high end, then re-distort everything, thus boosting the low end and the bass and giving us a bit more high end again. Then the 3-band EQ, just further boosting that kind of more natural sounding high end that we just made a little bit more. And then lane 3, we simply add in a bit of phase distortion. It's a really small amount here. When I say small, that's 6%. Because you start to go past that and it starts to, just affect the kind of low end too much and then changes the whole sound. So it's a lot of these distortions, what you'll notice is at a certain point, it's going to like really start to change the low end. Yeah. So it's about, with some of these, like the phase distortion, for me, it's about finding out where that point is and then backing it off a bit. So I can get a little bit of the coloring of the distortion before it starts to mess the low end up in too much of a negative way. It kind of like becomes detached almost. When some of these distortions, it feels like the low end suddenly detaches and it's like you kind of got two tones in the low end, so it's not sort of cohesive in the low end anymore. But a lot of the other modes that you use, like that fold back mode where it was kind of, driving it up a lot, if you notice, the low end is still kind of intact, like it's been massively boosted, but it hasn't sort of been separated into two kind of tones, where this one here, you start to sort of distort the low end too much. But obviously, if you use it in a little amount like I did, then it doesn't quite do that yet. So you get the bonus of having the little coloration in the high end without it messing up the low end. So that's the whole game here. And the distortion again, so another one with the overdrive, but this one is a very clean one. It's the kind of default one. So again, you hear it doesn't really detach the low end. It keeps it like cohesive still. Yeah, so that's like 4 dB. But again, the spread here starts to degrade the low end, and the same on this hard clipping one from before as well. Yeah, I think it might be also because it was already really stereoed when I kind of started, because it's got the global unison and it's got the chorus as well. So that's stereoing it quite a lot. So we already did quite a lot before it gets to the distortion anyway. So yeah, just leaving the spread off in that moment. But yeah, Sloany then. Do you like him? Is he going to be a guest at your next dinner party? If he is, then make sure you don't comment down below, because I don't want to hear from you. I'm so sick of reading your comments. Marcus. Yeah, that's right, Marcus. I think that I don't have any Marcuses following me. Well, I probably do, but I don't know any personally, so that was a good name to select, because then I haven't directly insulted someone. But sorry, Marcus. Anyway. Yeah, really like this one. It's another kind of neurofunk bass, but it's not quite like that sort of classic Reese, because it has got more of a unique colouring and character, and it's a bit more of a stereo sound, I guess. And it's coloured in a very different way to the Darko Reese, which was kind of one of my favourite ones that I made recently. So yeah, the Sloany Bass, it definitely sits in his own little corner of the room, and he can relax and know that his identity is, you know, secure, and he is a little bit different to everyone else, and he's proud of that. So say goodbye to Sloany, because he's got to go to get some food now, because he's pretty hungry. But thanks a lot for watching, my G's, and this is you know, we're coming to the end of the working week, and I will be leaving this environment that I'm in Cali, Colombia, still, but I will be leaving in a couple of days, and moving to brighter and greener pastures, hopefully. So we'll see you over there. Maybe I'll do one more video before I go, but if not, I'll see you in the next location. Goodbye.